This is part one of my engine repairs of the removal, cleaning and painting of those engines. This is my introduction to sailing Wilson on YouTube. I'm Captain Wannabe Ian. Yes, I do have a sailing certificate. In fact, I have two. Whether I can sail or not is another story. I own a 2013 Island Spirit catamaran, 38 foot in length, and I really love my boat. I'm sure you've heard this before, but please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and push on the notification bell. That'd help a lot. By the way, please share my videos with other people you know. I'm currently on the hard stand at Reback Island Shipyard, which is in the top middle of the photograph. Reback Island is a resort island just off the main island of Langkawi in Malaysia. Here's a Google Earth image of my boat just beside the blue dot on the hard stand. And here's a photograph of my boat just after I finished putting the copper coat on. I've still got a lot of work to do. We started with the removal of the port engine first, and there was a good reason for that. As you can see from this video, there was a huge amount of rust and it needed general maintenance and repairs on some of the engine parts. Why was there rust? Well, there was a number of reasons for that, and I'll explain it throughout the video. We used a rope to create tension on the sail drive so we could pull the engine away from the sail drive. I employed Robbie Anderson from Anderson Marine Services to do the job on the engines because I didn't have the ability to do it myself. It's a major job.
Call for Jamil.
So you want me to go and tell Jamil?
If he has time, yes.
Right.
Once the engine was separated from the sail drive, we got the forklift to lift the engines out. So Jamil and his crew from the Reback Island hard stand helped us using a forklift to lift the engines out. And as you can see, there was a bit of time spent on figuring out how to sling the ropes and create a cradle using the forklift to get the engines out of the engine bay on the port side.
Okay. To take down and make the rope shorter.
Because the forklift didn't have enough height, we had to fiddle for some time to get the length of the rope quite right.
No.
Okay, maybe this one here, this one there.
Bạn gãi đâu?
Bạn cắt banyak đâu? We need one more. Okay, give there a little bit. Maybe you can. Like that, maybe?
Gitu đi. One more time đi.
Give a bit đó. There?
Okay. Tự nhiên. Nè. Pelan-pelan. Oke. Naik lu. Naik. Iya. Hah? Habis belum?
Really? Already
Make the line
And of course my amateur self had to open my big mouth and try to tell two professionals how to do their job, but they rightfully so ignored me and figured out a way to solve the problem. So they brought in a lock and tackle, and that was the answer to all our problems with getting the length of the rope right, so that the short lift of the forklift was able to get the engine up and out of the engine bay and over the railing and down to the ground. As you can see, Robbie Anderson is quite fit and he was able to do all the work with the lock and tackle. I couldn't. I'm 68 years of age and not that fit. The engine on the port side was fairly easy to get out, and there was a narrow margin, but it didn't have to be disassembled any more than we needed to get the engine out of the engine bay.
Getting there, huh? Not really sure of it, so we have a sit down later, right? Yeah. Let's take one step at a time here.
I'm just thinking,
Well, that would be the safest way, maybe.
Then the forklift driver took over the lift and the boys manipulated it to get it up and over the railing and onto the ground.
You can up, but however, so maybe reverse a little bit, right? Okay, I can hold, you can talk.
pelan-pelan, pelan-pelan. Pelan-pelan kat depan lagi, pelan-pelan tu. Pelan-pelan je lah. Lagi, pelan-pelan lagi. Jalan. Jalan. Okey, turun. Turun. Okey. Turun.
So the stress of it all, worrying about the forklift getting too close to my boat and the engine going over the railing, and the professionals did their job well. With a lot of communication. Because there was no ventilation in the engine bay, and in Asia the humidity took its toll, and that's where the rust came from. As I walk around the engine, you can see the rust on the engine mounts and also in the bell housing area and on other parts, including the fuel injection system, some on the front of the engine. Now here you can see the rust and grime that built up inside the bell housing of the sail drive near where the engine connects to it, and also the rust on the shaft, which made it difficult to separate the two units. Once the sail drive was removed, you could see the engine bay wasn't as dirty as I thought it would be, and it should be a fairly clean up, and I'll pressure spray it and degrease it and wash it out and then paint it white. The next day we spent the morning preparing a gallows for the lock and tackle, and we did all that before the forklift came, and we were able to adjust the ropes and the lock and tackle to lift it out, and we had to stop and take off a few more parts because the starboard side engine hatch wasn't wide enough to take it out without taking those parts off, so it took a bit of a time before we were able to call on the forklift to do the rest of the job.
Yeah. Now we know how much we need to wage, more or less. Alright.
That worked out fairly close.
It did, man. We fucking did it.
As you can see by this video, we had to remove the helm wheel, the blue tape around the spindle, and the gallows. You can see a better picture of those, and the forklift then took an easy job to lift the engine the rest of the way and over the top of the railing and down to the ground. And again, it was quite a stressful time, worrying about the stability of the blocks holding up the gallows and the forklift so close to the side of the boat and going over the railing.
Alright. Very good.
Both sail drives are out and in bits. They're going to be cleaned up and serviced, and new upper and lower rubber seals, diaphragms, and also beams. The band around the upper diaphragm had rusted away, and the diaphragm itself had become soft and flexible, and you can see all the build up of the muck that was in between both the upper and lower diaphragms, and they had to be removed and replaced. If the diaphragms had failed on an ocean voyage, the boat would have sunk fairly quickly, so they had to be replaced. Their life is around 7 years, so it was well and truly time for them to be replaced. They aren't cheap at 2,600 Australian dollars, but it had to be done. The video was produced by myself, and it's the end of another exciting video of the removal of both port and starboard engines from my catamaran at Reback Island Shipyard, and that's the end of the video, part 26.